Okay, you ready? Final Fantasy V could accurately be described as the fifth video game in the Final Fantasy series. It's one of the less talked about ones in the series. Largely, I think, due to the fact it took a hot minute to be released outside Japan, at least in any kind of playable form. That's a shame, because Final Fantasy V slaps a whole lot. This is a story about a video game that I like a lot, and hopefully you do too. Or you'll be convinced by the end of whatever it is this is. If you've not played it, FF5 is, in my opinion, pretty dang worth giving a go. Plot's not as grand or serious as in the 4th or 6th installments, and I think people look down on that. But, it knows when to be tongue-in-cheek, and it knows when to let itself be a touch serious. It's also got the advantage of being ludicrously pacey for this kind of game. This game moves. You'll feel like you're getting stuff done, even if you can only play for like an hour or two at a time, which is something these kind of games can have a little trouble with. Also, for an RPG, it's really heckin' replayable. The gameplay revolves around a litany of boss fights, which are of a consistently high standard. In my opinion, some of the best in the whole series. And the job system's pretty dang amazing. We'll get more into that as we go. I wanted to practice writing scripts and reading scripts and thinking about script things for this series. That's kind of what the goal was anyway. So, while I am going to be a guide for this wonderful little game, I'm not actually going to be playing it. Unless I need to capture extra footage I can't find to steal or something. For that reason, we are, I'm afraid, going to need to enlist the aid of an capital G gamer.
This is going to be so good in widescreen, too. I've never played a Final Fantasy in widescreen like this before, of the classics, that is.
Philip Darkside Phil Burnell is a muchly memed on video game streamer of ill repute. Phil has a reputation for being really, really bad at the games he plays, so presumably there'll be a couple of teachable moments in there. Like I said though, it is an easy game. It's not Dark Souls or Kirby or anything. Phil is playing on the current Pixel Remaster version, and I was planning to talk about version differences in here somewhere, so should the game start looking and sounding older and the board man disappear from the top corner, that'll be me playing. Now, while I am exposing you in passing to Mr. Phil, a crime for which I will surely be punished, and I am largely doing it as a joke, I do feel the need to make some kind of disclaimer here before we get into it. The ongoing saga of DSP is very funny to laugh at from time to time. The man is a veritable font of drama. There's almost always something new and horrible to hear about. His crimes, however, do go beyond being bad at video games on the internet. Phil Burnell is a bad man. This, right here, is the face of a man who is bad.
Lena, don't worry. I'll be fine. Have faith. Dude, the soundtrack is seriously good.
Oh, I'm glad you like it. Now, nothing much I can give you more insight than just watching it would is going to happen for a little while, so we'll skip on through the opening cutscenes as fast as we can. The first thing we see is Lena, a pink-haired lady whose interests include and are entirely limited to being repeatedly poisoned, talking with her dad, King Tycoon, on the roof of their big house. Mr. Tycoon's a little upset because all wind has ceased to exist, and that's kind of within his jurisdiction. So he hops on his dragon and flies off to go investigate. Next, we get a quick glimpse of another two-player characters. This is Faris on a sailboat. They are rightly peeved at the wind disappearing all of a sudden. Somewhere else, Old Man Galuf is doing a thing, some kind of wizard shit, I think. King Tycoon gets to where he was going, only for a big magic-y crystal to blow up in his face.
Crystals and crystal chambers, and it's a commonality between all the games. Wow, look at that! Crystal exploding.
At precisely that moment, Spawn Killer gifts a subscription and I don't, what is this?
Look at that fire effect.
What's wrong with your hand, Phil? What's this now lump? I think I'm getting distracted. I think that's not actually in the game.
Fire effect. That wasn't in the original.
The final member of our four-person team is sitting by a campfire in the forest with his big pet duck, when suddenly a meteor lands nearby. Being the adventurous sort, he decides to go give it a look over. and the game begins.
The remix soundtrack is outstanding, dude. Tycoon Meteorite. La 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 la. La la.
Ducks aren't allowed in the forest, so Boko has to stay.
Boko, wait here, okay?
I didn't really have anything to add, I just wanted him to stop singing.
By the way, take a look. I need to move my camera. My camera definitely needs to be upper left for this playthrough, because I am blocking the minimap. So let's change
Wait, minimap? You got a map in this version? They give you a fucking map in this version.
whenever we need to.
I could have been
The proper
so much
position.
less
There
lost.
we go. Look at this.
We meet up with Lena down the path. She's in the process of being kidnapped by goblins, so our lad steps in and knocks them over the head dead quick. Once she's good and safe, the pair get to talking. Lena asks her name and,
I give you my thanks. My name is Lena, and you are? Me? I have a name? Bart. So here's the funny part about this, alright? You ready? The original Japanese, his name was Butz. B-U-T-Z. I'm not kidding. His name is supposed to be Butz. That's his real name in the game. But when they later on ported this to English and, you know, American collections, they renamed him Bartz because I think they thought too many people would laugh at his name being Butz. But his real name is supposed to be Butz. So here we go. I'm going to name him Butz. His real name is Butz. That's the real name. I'm not kidding. B-U-T-Z. I know people are probably going to say, oh, nah, he made that up. No, look it up. That's his real name. I know because I played the Japanese version.
a fascinating quandary. The Butts dilemma. Let's investigate. What I'm playing right now is the original Japanese release of Final Fantasy V. This is the first version ever released, and the only one not to have a coinciding English language release. As you can see, the main character has no default name whatsoever, Butts or otherwise. I suppose during the fight his name was just a question mark, but I'm not sure that counts. Not only is he not called Butts, but the characters to create the word Butts do not even exist here, as for some reason, they are all in Japanese. The earliest English language version released was as part of the FF Anthology collection on the PS1. This port is known for being particularly wibbly-wobbly, for among other reasons its bad translation. Let's take a look. Still not a single cheek. Unbelievable. My next thought was that the Butts name might be referenced in the manual. However, as far as I can tell from a thorough perusing of a scan I could find online, we're still entirely assless. I'm not going to say for sure it's not there though. See these tiny little screenshots? The scan isn't in high enough resolution for me to be able to read the names on the teeny tiny heads-up displays. I searched around for my actual disc copy of FF5 Anthology. Yeah, I'm one of the people who bought that back in the day. It's a wonder I actually like this game. Eventually I managed to root it out, but the manual was missing. There are, however, screenshots on the back of the box which reveal that while Lena is apparently called Reina here, Bats is still Bats. All of this is getting very far from the original claim, though.
The original Japanese, his name was Butz. B-U-T-Z. I'm not kidding. His name is supposed to be Butz. That's his real name in the game. I know because I played the Japanese version.
The Bats-Butts discourse is ongoing and ever-present. You're not a real fan until you've thrown your hat into the Bats/Butts ring, I'd go as far as to say. The original Japanese name is, in fact,
Butts.
Initially, there is evidence that the English localization was intended to be Butts, but this translation has only ever made it into print in 2 official places, as far as I can find.
Over there.
First was a Japanese 1992 official strategy guide. The second is in the FF Art Museum trading card collection, as pictured here. Every Japanese release has always had the protagonist called
Butts.
and every Western one has always called him Bats. The widespread Butts conversation has convinced a lot of people that they've played official Butts translations, but believe me, you haven't. They don't exist. I'm glad we could get the Butts dilemma dealt with good and early on this journey. Thank you, Philip. Now, interestingly, Butts is actually a name that actual humans have as their actual name. It's a Swiss surname meaning someone who lived near a well. So the question remains, should you name the main guy in Final Fantasy V Butts? Now, I'd say yes, definitely, but don't be a coward about it. I want to see B-U-T-T-S from now on. Thank you. Moving swiftly on.
Butts, thank you again. Farewell.
He looks so bored, and he spends like half the time just peeking at chat to see if anyone's donated, and no one's ever said anything.
Okay. Jason is saying Ultra members get access to the whole stream right away. I'm new to Ultra. On this channel, no. On this channel.
Okay, you know what? We might be here a while. Actually, seeing where this is going, tell you what.
Like that.
Check this shit out. The Final Fantasy V anthology versions of their own like cool little CG intros. Let's watch those. Boom! Hironobu! These old PS1 CG cutscenes, specifically just the ones by Square, are like my actual favourite things to look at. FF7 had them, FF8 had loads of them, Front Mission 3, they were killing it, man. So good. Parasite Eve too? Parasite Eve had some really good ones. I actually have no idea who... is this Lena? She's not well, is the thing. And this guy sold me like an amulet in Morrowind. I wonder if Ferris's pirate crew ever wonder why he's got such pronounced boobs. Look at my boy! He's beautiful! I like his earrings. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm hype. Let's go back and see if Phil ever got out of that room.
Come on, Boko, let's go. Alright, Boko, let's get out of here. Let's skedaddle. This is so cool you can walk at an angle.
I guess, if you say so.
Whoa, what's that? Boko, bad Chocobo. What are you doing stopping like that? Now, don't you give me that look. Quack, quack, quack.
You can't... it's not allowed.
Yeah, I know.
You can't do this. You can't give the man and the duck the same voice. I'm starting to think this isn't gonna work out.
Uh-oh. Ah!
I am about to become the Joker.
Here we go. Run, run, run. Goblin! Goblin! Attack the goblin! Oh!
Okay. 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 That is enough of that. 15 minutes and 40 seconds, if you're wondering. That's how far we made it. Of the whole run. Let's try and find a more watchable video. Perhaps.
Maybe you have to learn the abilities. You know.
You know, when you think about it, Final Fantasy V is a game about player expression. So doing some degree of hopping around out here is just going to mean we see more perspectives. It's got to be the right move for my series, I've decided. After the incident just now.
Good morning.
This is Gamora. They don't seem super enthusiastic about filing down all these fantasies, but I feel safe here. And they do a cheeky little laugh sometimes, and that makes me happy. My favourite thing about them is that they're not Darkside Phil. After saving Lena, we find Galuf passed out by the meteor. He seems to have hit his head and doesn't remember a dang thing other than that he wants to go to the Wind Shrine. This is where Lena's headed to, and where her dad exploded previously. Bats, or possibly Butts, doesn't want to go to the Wind Shrine, so he leaves him to it. But a bit later, a series of freak earthquakes, making dang ravines everywhere, force the lot to reconvene. Lena and Galuf are in the process of being kidnapped by goblins again when you find them. Gotta watch out for those goblins, man.
The old guy's pretty dead set on getting there, too.
Bats tells the gang to go with them after all, to protect them from further goblin incidents. Or goblin-incidents. All the quaking that's been going on has completely trashed the road now, though, so we're forced to brave the weird new cave that opened in all the commotion. This will be our first dungeon.
First dungeon.
That's why I said.
We have no items, right? We got 3 potions.
There is actually a Phoenix Down you can get at the Meteor Impact site earlier.
It's a full-on
And
minimap, by
even
the way.
worse,
Look what I just found.
DSP actually found that one.
What's that spring? Oh, they brought back the HP up kind of spring. It's a recovery spring. HP and MP restored, all status ailments removed, KO'd allies revived.
The amount of items you have here is basically irrelevant, though. The enemies are chumps, and there's a healing spring in the first room that'll fully heal your party as many times as you need it to.
Ooh, he has got the double punch in there.
I'll get to that in a minute. The first handful of major dungeons will have something like this nearby to run back to if you get beat up. Not that this really qualifies as a major dungeon.
It's really different than the usual battle theme. I mean, it should show... Oh, there's a chest at the meteorite.
I don't know what this automatic treasure chest finder
I doubt that.
device is, and I am offended by it. We didn't have this kind of thing back in my day, folks.
Ooh, secret entrance.
By opening the equip menu, we can see why 2 of our 3 goobers are so drastically underperforming. Bats bothered to bring his own sword to work today, so he's hitting decent numbers. The other 2, though, are in pretty dire straits. Lena's using a knife that barely qualifies as a weapon. Galuf doesn't even have that. He's fighting completely barehanded. Since he doesn't have a shield either, he does get to make 2 attacks, 1 for each hand. But he's hitting 6 damage a punch and not quite even outputting what Lena is, all told. The characters in this game do have very minor stat variances between them, but basically the main things are always going to be class and gear.
Is that us?
As for what this all means in the current situation, you'll generally want to have Bats attack an enemy on his own, and then have Lena and Galuf team up on a second one. That'll frequently get you 2 kills in a round.
It's got paddles, or what is that thing called? I don't know. Something, kind of like those steamboats.
So here we're theorizing how the boat could still be going without any wind, but I think that ignores the more irritating question. How do we even know there was a boat at all when there's all these mountains in the way? Always gets me.
Pirates hideout.
Hey, so you probably noticed, if you've played this game before, that I keep doing a thing where I hide a little cut during a door transition, so it looks like someone's teleported into the wrong room. Um, I'm gonna keep doing that. Just a heads up.
You get that little.
I think it's
side
funny.
We're all asleep.
You wouldn't know it going in, especially coming off the back of the iconic 9 Pirates boss fight in FF1. But the Pirates hideout's actually a safe place. There's no encounters here and no enemies around. Can't use any of the doors though, because there's sleeping purple pirates leaning against all of them. All we can really do is sneak our way onto the boat and head to the captain's wheel. I think Butts is trying to hotwire the thing or something.
Nice. You can walk on that. It's pretty cool. Oh, here it is. Yo ho ho and stuff. Time to cast off.
The gang kinda orbits the wheel and argue back and forth for a minute before the ruckus draws the attention of all the pirates. Lena tries to talk a way out of it by telling the pirates she's actually a princess, for some reason. Varys, king of the pirates, tells her that he thought she was just a regular hostage and that this is very useful information for him. He thanks her for her honesty. While she's being dragged away though, he catches a glimpse of the necklace she's wearing. He's seen one just like it before. On him.
Tossed a lot of them into the brig.
Do I? Oh, is it? Oh, we're changing cameras. That's what's going on. Alright, now we're gonna go over to the mismatched sprite. And, like, this is gonna drive me nuts. Why does the Princess of Tycoon have the same pendant as I do?
Hey, we swapped playthrough and version again. Fight me. Now this is the infamous FF5 Steam version. There's a couple things I wanted to talk about here dead quick before we head on out to the Wind Shrine. Firstly, say hi to Rurumiki, everyone. She's more awake than the last person and gets into the voice acting a little bit more. But honestly, my favourite thing about her is that she's not Darkside Phil. Secondly, what's with all the hate for this Steam version over here? Why is this the worst version? Well, firstly, I'd say it's not quite. It's close, though. As well as having a sometimes pleasingly dodgy translation, the PS1 Anthology version has to load for like 10 seconds at the start of every random encounter. Over the course of a full playthrough, you'll actually start to feel yourself aging to death. This is definitely the second worst version, however. I did a quick browse of some sites where the angry gamers go to complain about things, and the impression I got was that nobody seems to know exactly why this is a bad version, beyond the obvious. So let's give you the cliff notes. From a strictly mechanical standpoint, FF5 Steam, and by extension, FF5 Android and iOS, it's just a port, is the absolute worst version of the game. That's not to say the version you can currently get on Steam is a bad one. The Pixel remaster seems to have eaten the old one, and people are enjoying that one okay. For some reason, possibly upon realizing that it's really easy to pirate the GBA version of the game, my personal favourite version to this day, so do not make fun of my Game Boy, they decided to make a set of sweeping gameplay changes to rebalance the experience and give folks something fresh to dig into. While making these changes, they managed to apply minor buffs to some of the game's strongest classes and apply extremely significant nerfs to some of the middle tier, as well as making boss fights generally more tedious. I won't go into everything, but the changes were largely horrible, and the problem was further exacerbated by a sweeping and indiscriminate round of bug fixes, which, frankly, took out a lot of the best ones. Like I said, the really good classes were laughing, but the ones that were already struggling were now much more so. And if you were doing a Fiesta, that could lead to some fucking miserable runs. What's a Fiesta? We'll get to that. Patience. This is already like the longest digression ever. Obviously, the other reason why FF5 Steam is so bad is because it's fuck ugly. FF5 Steam looks like someone crashed their fantasy airship into a warehouse full of stock RPG Maker assets. The style's completely different and so much worse, and everything's like long? Like all the little people are stretched vertically? I hate this shit. This blows. You can't buy it anymore because it stopped existing, but don't play FF5 Steam.
Alright, guys.
I do want to point out that this version does use the original concept art for the characters on the text boxes, which is weird and jarring and doesn't at all match the character models, but I like the art and we will have to talk about that sometime in the near future. Oh, heck, run that video.
Fine by myself. Now Ferris is in our party.
After giving it all a good think over, Faris has a complete change of heart and decides to head out to the Wind Shrine himself and see what all the ruckus is about. The pirates free everyone and the squad is assembled. FF5 doesn't have a rotating cast like FF4, or a switchable in and out cast like FF6. Our squad's finished now. That's all again.
It's a nice option to show for them to be like, oh hey, here's the Wind Shrine right here. You don't need to go anywhere else. There's no real point for me to be dicking around anywhere else.
Actually, that kind of is. Say hi to the Flustered Phoenix, by the way. They seem like a person who's very much not Darkside Phil.
Right, where's the Wind Shrine?
This is the Proxima. He is also not Phil, and any rumours to the contrary are just that. Rumours.
I like the fact that the glint is constantly in the right place. Can I hide the map? A map!
I just had to play a little clip there, I'm sorry. It's beautiful. Ugh, can I get rid of this map? Oh, I got a map!
I like it, it tells me.
Sorry. As the proximity is going to demonstrate for us, should you, rather than heading straight north, instead hug the left-hand coastline, you'll reach the small town of Chul before the Wind Shrine. There's some stuff we can do there to perhaps better prepare for the road ahead, like getting Galuf a weapon, for example.
I love the little character of that one guy being lost. Think I'll stop and have a drink as well.
This little fella over here fancies himself a bard.
I'm training to be a bard. Listen to this. Long, long ago, in a canal to the east, a big old ugly monster was having a feast. It ate lots of people, 53 at least. But good guys used the crystal and sealed away the beast. Oh yeah!
Absolutely no bars at all.
Oh, it's the Greenhorns Club.
Oh, it's the Greenhorns Club. The Greenhorns Club gives you a bunch of handy tips about what you're doing and how to navigate the world. If you're new to this sort of game, you'll definitely want to have a look in and learn about secret passages and hidden items in crates and urns. And if you're a veteran, you'll probably want to give the place a once-over anyway. There's a lot of pretty handy loot scattered around for you, including a Phoenix Down if you missed the one at the Tool Meteor site, which apparently everyone but Phil fucking Burnell did.
If your hair suddenly turns white, it means you're aging and gradually getting weaker and weaker. So what fucking advice is that, you dickhead?
I don't want to play favorites or anything, but I think this is my favorite game so far.
All right, let's do some exploring around. There's some items we can pick up before we go shopping, right?
This is Blue Ankylo, not Phil Ankylo or Blue Burnell. They've definitely played this game before, and they're going to have a quick whip around of Tool's famous crates and barrels for hidden treasure. Apparently in the Pixel Remaster, it just tells you if you're looking at hidden items, so that's a thing. I think I hate the Pixel Remaster, actually. I think I want today's youth to struggle like I did.
Invisible until you've got a thief, but you get the dash automatically, basically. The boss went upstairs. All right, well, I mean, we got to do these at least once, right? And we begin our XXX rated Final Fantasy V playthrough. Woo. So emotive. They don't even leave.
Interacting with the stage here will cause bats to be ambushed by a troop of rotating women. They just let rip and spin like Beyblades on you until you move, and will continue to rotate until the end of time. The passion of their sexy dance having been the final breakthrough in the invention of perpetual motion. There's also a piano here.
Let's do some amazing piano. I'm really good at piano. Can't even do a do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Piano, level up.
The scale, or piano move, Bats was going for here can be performed by starting at an arbitrary point and disinterestedly prodding all the keys in a row with your index finger. He didn't quite pull it off, but he's hype as hell about it. Using the piano a second time after this will have the same effect, except you won't be informed that your piano skills have leveled any further. This prompts the question, was that an offhand joke, or do I actually have a hidden piano stat?
I'll go check on him. And sure, it's pretty childish and probably a reason that didn't get released in 90s North America Super Nintendo. You can read into this one however you like. Two men walk in and spy on a sleeping person who's totally asleep and naked.
This is not my favourite gamer I've met today.
Caesar's Ghost, just gorgeous.
You've probably guessed, even at this early point. But Faris is actually a woman pretending to be a man, so the pirates will respect them more. The pirates, in fact, know this too, but they're too polite and too scared of Faris to tell them. Once everyone finds out, or at least everyone finds out that everyone already found out, they drop the act entirely and identify wholly as a woman for the rest of the game. So I don't believe there was ever any intent for Faris to be canonically anything other than a cis lady. As a turbo gay, however, I can claim whoever I want. And we have to talk about Faris' concept art. Look at my MB baby! Look at this queen! Look at this king! Look at this emperor! Faris is like the coolest character design out of the entire series, hands down. They're so cool, and so tough, and so gay. She's fucking fly as shit, and she's got her own pirate crew and her own dragon, and she's out here doing all the coolest crimes. She's basically everything any one of us could ever aspire to be. Faris is perfect. I got a big stupid hat flying above my head right now. I don't give a fuck.
We need some swords. Don't forget about me. That's right. Everyone gets a sword.
Opening any of the shops around town will have Faris quickly and temporarily rejoin the squad so you can, actually load her out. The gear she turns up with in the first place isn't anything to sniff at to begin with, though. Faris comes equipped with a dagger, an upgraded version of Lena's knife that hits almost as hard as Bats' sword, and a bronze shield. Shields in this game give you a flat chance to parry physical attacks, and that chance is the same whether it's a level 1 goblin or the last boss throwing them at you. They're handy things to have.
Did Faris already have a sword?
Absolutely not, you filthy casual. We can also buy rods and staves here, but without a corresponding job to go with them, none of our people can actually cast spells right now. So they'd only be used as whacking sticks, and frankly the broadsword does that a little bit better.
And then Robert. Or maybe Crescent Lake's vacation. Shields, caps, armors. Whatever. I don't think we really need to worry about armor right now, but it's fine. The Archaeovavix, or whatever the name of the...
I think it's pronounced Wing Raptor.
What am I trying to say? It doesn't do, defense... it doesn't do damage that is based on the defense formula. It just does a percentage of your max HP.
We'll get there when we get there, but I'd say don't worry too much about the armor. For one thing, it's not good armor. If you were going to go for anything, I'd do the shield. We'll find armor. There's also a tantalizingly placed magic shop here. We can't do any magic right now, no matter how much we buy it. Buying magic in this game, and a lot of the early Final Fantasies, will add it to your spellbook permanently. So, you only ever have to buy them once. You can go further wrong than buying the spells here, even though we can't currently use them. When you get further in the game, though, you might want to think harder about which spells you pick up and which ones you maybe skip. They start to get pricey. Back to my buddy Proximity for a moment to show off a thing I like. This wizard will ask you to cover your eyes while he takes you to the secret headquarters of the Greenhorn Club, and will then walk you roughly 20 steps to the other side of the screen before telling you you've reached your destination. And have I mentioned this game has just a charming sense of humour about it?
I'm having so much fun.
We're basically done with Tool for now, so let's blow this popsicle stand.
I mean, I was just trying to save my game, Faris, but... How do I save my game?
I don't know, Chief. Looks like a tough one. Now maybe, and I have to stress I'm not an expert here, I haven't played this version. Maybe it's the button in the menu that's labelled Save. Sorry, I'm being mean. It's not his fault. Nobody else has to play with Gilgamesh looking over the shoulder. It's a lot of pressure to perform, you know? If you ever go for a second run or invent a time machine or something, I would go back 1 year and tell past you it's the save button.
Okay.
Alright. Enough messing around, let's get moving.
Oh, there's people here. These guys look like the character from Final Fantasy IV.
This helpful gentleman will inform us that, oh jeez, oh god, it's all gone wrong. The wind stopped, there's monsters all over the shop, Lena's dad went upstairs and nobody knows what happened to him. If you duck past the guy and head to the back wall of the room, there's a boy handing out a whole bunch of free health potions, and a pot that'll fully heal your squad every time you look at it. Everyone seems to miss these.
A tent!
This tent's here for people who didn't manage to walk all the way to the back of the room downstairs, I tell ya. Tents will fully heal your squad, and heal a portion of their MP. They can only be used at save points or on the world map, though.
Paris, you're right. Come on. Oh, this music's cool.
Ooh, hang on.
Princess, please take these with you. Ooh, thank you.
See? This boy's got 5 free potions to hand out. Nobody'll take them off him. Sucks.
This is what all this running is getting me. I'm getting confused here.
So, I think, like, reality might be starting to break down. Be that as it may, the Wind Shrine is here to teach us what kind of game we're playing, while still in a relatively safe, controlled environment. There's several floors with a few bitty rooms and scattered treasures, and the random encounters are fairly frequent and feature a colourful collection of monsters, but there's no real standouts to be worried about. The White Snake here has a move that'll paralyse a party member, temporarily stopping them from acting, and you'll be like, oh, here I go again, but it's fine. They don't really have a way to capitalise on it. The Black Goblins can teach you Goblin Punch if you have a Blue Mage on hand. You don't, because you haven't cleared the Wind Shrine yet. The funny little wedge guys, the Mold Winds, have a small chance to drop an elixir when you kill them, which is a dang good get if you manage to get it. They also know the arrow spell, but will almost never use it, because Moldwinds have a very attuned sense of fairness. There's also the Mani Wizards as a semi-rare encounter. They know all the basic elemental attack spells, and with just 20 hit points, also know how to die immediately in 1 hit before they ever get to use any of them.
This the Mani Wizard. But like the most irritating thing, magic stick.
They can also just be like, oh, fuck that noise, and club you over the head with this stick.
Alright, there's a treasure chest down there I missed. What? What's the purpose in this room? Huh.
Room here. Well, hello, nothing.
That bird looks like it means business. What the hell is the point of this?
Okay, hold on. No, that bothers me. Really? Nothing? Oh.
Every single team of adventurers who comes to the Wind Shrine bumbles into the broom cupboard and just stumbles around for a minute, checking every wall for secret passages. This is very funny to me. The nook at the opposite end does have a broadsword in it, which is a great find for Galuf if you've been making him run around punching goblins with his hands this whole time. In the middle of the 2 weirdy little rooms is a big angry bird. They won't start nothing until you approach him, but we do kind of need to use that door.
Than it needs to be. Ooh, a broadsword. Equip.
Alright, let's do it. This guy's not playing around. For boss time! This is, I don't even know. The Wing Raptor?
Wing Raptor is the first boss the game has to throw at us, and while he's absolutely still a little baby boy in the baby dungeon, I think he does show off a little bit about how this game does bosses. Kind of. If you squint. Right now we have a whole squad of freelancers who, when their turn comes up, can either attack, eat a potion, or do nothing. Wing Raptor wants to make sure we understand how to do all 3 of these things. His breathing wings will inflict pretty heavy damage squad-wide. The man earlier said it's percentage based, but it's absolutely not. Trust not the man. And after a little while, he'll kind of curl up in a ball with his wings up. Attack him like that, and you're not only going to do 0 damage, but you'll get a claw to the face for your trouble. The claw also does non-insignificant damage, and will ignore the couple points of defense you have if you've been going out of your way to collect the leather shoes for everyone. As soon as he lowers his guard, he's going to breath wing, but while you're waiting, he'll do nothing at all if you don't hit him first, and you have the perfect opportunity to potion up. You can also just sit with a whole team of people with full ATB bars, ready to alpha strike him as soon as he gets up if your health is good. I'd actually advise not using potions if you're fiestering. We'll need those later if you roll a bad or no job here. And Wing Raptor has like non-health. Even a few of the blind playthroughs I was cycling between just rolled him before he got to do much of anything.
Alright, got a Phoenix down for that.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Bart. It must have been while you were kissing me. Wing Raptor, you don't say. I'm just gonna, like, just hit this thing. Like, the boss battles and the battles in this game, like, the boss battles, just like any other Final Fantasy game, they get a little bit more, they get, well, quite a bit more strategic later on. Especially since you, like, create your own strategy, pretty much. More on that later, viewers.
I do like how big he is in this version. Normally he's very, very short, but like very, very wide.
Alright, no, it's not a statue, it's a wing raptor. Alright, so have you attack.
A fierce talent swipe will meet those who attack when its wings are closed.
The top there said something when its wings are closed, so everyone's gonna potion themselves right now while its wings are closed, I guess.
The important thing, the thing you have to remember, is attack right now while its tail's up. And it's gonna counterattack with its laser beam.
I didn't see what
No, Zuno, no.
I didn't see what it said about its wings, so I'm gonna give it a couple more turns. Ooh, okay, it's spazzed out there for a second. Alright, I guess we're back to attacking it. Alright, well, nothing too complicated about that, but you know, what can I do at this point in the game, really, besides attack?
Here we go! Oh shit! Wing Raptor, breath wing attack! Ouch! Epic musics! Oh my god, it's metal!
A cat. Look at this little guy. Tiny Wing Raptor. What is this? A Wing Raptor for ants?
Wing Raptor. Oh my gosh. Nice. Not too difficult.
Zoo, well, no, it's a Wing Raptor. I wouldn't have guessed that. That was loads of damage. Blimey.
Proximity got really unlucky and the Raptor just decided to double breathe right off the bat. And Proximity, no! No, it's fine. He's a pushover. You can you can... Oh no.
And that's, yes. That's what happens when you die.
The Pixel Remaster auto-saves every time you enter a room.
There we go, that was very nice of the game.
I'm livid right now.
Incoming. Alright, there's no strategy here. Except for defending, maybe. Oh, God. Alright, that's fine.
I think that was the only W the Wing Raptor got today, but it is hard to tell. Something about the setup here on this one makes it kind of tricky for me to tell if everyone's okay somehow. I don't know if it's just me.
Now, we'll be fine.
The man says it's fine, but I cannot verify that.
That was not it, yeah. Phoenix there.
Okay. That does,
advance the fighting. I thought maybe I'd have to like defend.
Hey, look everyone! It's Gamora again! We gone all the way around in a circle, and this is the first person we watched who makes actually watchable content who's Phil. Never heard of him. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, Wing Raptor's thoroughly dealt with and out of the way. Moving on, we do have one more little flaw. There's a staff in a chest here just outside the boundaries. You gotta find a little hidden path to get at it. Once that's done, we've reached the crystal room where Dad ran off to earlier.
Oh, I thought there's only 4 crystals. It probably 6 at least. Maybe 2 more at the top.
There's actually, like, there's no crystals at all here right now. That's kind of the problem. There's just these little crystally bits. It's not the same thing. It doesn't work as well.
Courage, the essence of flame. Why'd that happen?
Why indeed? This freak occurrence happens again right afterwards, but to Lena this time, and then 2 more times to everyone else. But why? After that's done, Ghost Dad appears, formerly King Tycoon, tragically exploded, to give you the scoop on what you're up to.
Father. Listen and listen well. You are the chosen 4, the warriors of light, bearers of the 4 crystal essences.
Oh, huh. Guess that's why it happened. Ghost Dad tells us this crystal's a write-off, but we should probably go find the other 3 big elemental crystals that exist in the world, and do our best to make sure they don't explode. Then he teleports away. Basically just showed up to say what we're doing is extremely playing a Final Fantasy game. Right after that, though.
Father, go forth, warriors of light, and save the crystal. I gotta say that teleporting away looked kind of sinister. Is he gonna turn out to be some bad guy?
I can't believe you'd besmirch Ghost Dad's good name like this. I can't believe I'm hearing it.
They are crystal fragments, and stored within the power of warriors of legend. Knight, monk, blue mage, thief. Black mage, white mage. Lots of jobs.
We gotta talk jobs. So this is the game. This is the selling point. These are the jobs. I did a tier list once way back of the jobs in this game, and I think, like, some of it was good, but lots of it was trash. I can't remember and refuse to rewatch it. So, for old time's sake, let's go through what we've got right quick, in the order they were mentioned. It's job time. First we got the Knight. Knight wears big armor and carries big sword. Being a Knight is the only lad in the game, other than Freelancer, who can use the special Knight swords. Knight's a melee attacker, so his damage is kinda limited. It's not bad. You can improve it some with his 2-hand ability, letting him output twice as much for the penalty of not having a shield. Personally, though, I normally just load him up with the best defensive items you've got and try and make sure he sticks around. Knights will automatically try and step in and take hits for low health team members, and if they happen to dodge or parry those hits, well, I guess they can keep doing it for longer. Later they'll get an equipable skill that reduces incoming physical damage to 0, in exchange for not attacking that round. And of course, this stacks with cover, so with a little setup, it's going to be really dang hard for enemies to get any physical attacks through. The health's solid, and they're the only class we'll have for a while who can use the big, good armors, so even when they get hit, they don't get hit as hard as everyone else. And they don't learn any revive moves, but they can hook a Tuft of Phoenix down just as good as anyone else to get the squad back up and rolling in a pinch. The real downside of Knight is that magic exists. More specifically, magic that'll blast the whole squad at once. They can't cover if it's going to hit everyone, and they're reliant purely on their admittedly decent HP for tanking spells. Good class though, solid class, B-tier class. Then we got Monk, and there's immediately much less to talk about. Monk punches stuff. He's just mad as hell, he's angry, he's incensed, he's got 2 hands with which to punch the world, and he's gonna do it. At this point in the game, Monk's punches will hit like a truck. And remember, he gets to do 2 of them if he's open-handed, and he is, we'll get to that. Making your whole team monks right now and just going through and punching the water shrines a bit sounds pretty valid and probably quite fun. Pretty quickly after that, though, Monk's gonna run into problems. You see, Monk learns fuck all for abilities. Basically not a goddamn thing that'll help anyone ever. On top of that, their punch damage is gonna start to fall off real quick compared to people who actually brought weapons to the fight. By like halfway through the first world, they're just kind of a guy with no weapon who can't do anything, and they'll never get any better for the rest of the game, unless you power level them like crazy. Monk's fists scaling damage real hard once you get them extremely big. They actually work okay alongside Chemist, because Chemist can manipulate level real good and real fast, but we're not talking about Chemist yet, and come on, everything works good with Chemist. He's literally a chemist. On top of being a kind of sad, useless blob for most of the game, Monk can't really benefit much from skills other classes might share with him, on account of Monk is so angry he doesn't know how to unclench his fists, so he can't fit items into them. You'd think you could stick black magic or something on him and he'd output just a little damage, maybe, as a treat? But you'd be surprised by the extent to which a black mage who can't hold elemental staves does not work in this game. There's a special item you'll find deep in a late game that'll boost Monk's damage a bit, but this'll use up his accessory slot, meaning he can't even wear shoes now, and that a semi-functional Monk has 3 of his 5 inventory slots completely locked off. Monk does have the highest HP stat of any class in the game, so at least he can live his horrible, tortured existence for longer. There's definitely a situation out there where Big Boy Monk, with his big Monk health pool, is the only survivor of a nasty AoE, and manages to revive everyone and rally the party to victory. But we're kind of reaching at this point. Don't know if you noticed. Monk is ass. F tier, literally bottom 2. I'm serious, by the way. Somehow the consensus seems to be that Monk contributes something somehow to anyone? And that just isn't the case. Literally misinformation. Unless I guess you're going to be just kind of listening to podcasts and grinding up to level 100 in the background on this game. Which is valid, by the way. You do you. Monk's going to be absolute butt. Then we have Blue Mage. I don't want to talk too much about him just now, so he's going to be in the question mark tier. We'll get to Blue Mage, folks. You'll see. You'll all see. Blue Mage is a wizard who can hold a sword. He's still squishy as heck, but he can bop a boy if he has to. He has to learn his spells from enemies by being hit with them and then being alive at the end of the fight. Even if the move killed him, you can just Phoenix down him and close it out. It takes some game knowledge to know where to find these spells, and I'm gonna be honest, he's not gonna be up to much for a minute. On your first run, unless you look into a really big spell early, it'll not be doing too great. But I literally did look into a big move early on in my first run, and he carried for a hot minute, even though I didn't know how to use him, really. So it's more likely than you think. Thus a Blue Mage. Secret Boy. Mystery tier. Don't watch my old stupid tier list and spoil it. Your boy Thief's in here next, and right now, at this point in the game, Thief is having a bad time. Fiesta's been a thing for a minute now, we'll get to it, and it's been solidly determined that in a normal, unmodified run, out of all the classes you can roll in the entire game, Thief is the worst one you could have right now. Even factoring in the possibility of rolling a job you can't use, and having to play 4 freelancers all the way through the next shrine. Thief is literally worse right now than no job at all. Thief's a squishy melee fighter who can't use any good armor, and unless we find something special in a chest somewhere for them, they can only use knives for fighting. Having a Thief in your team lets you sprint, and I don't know how exactly that works in versions of the game where you can already sprint, but on the PS1 version, they can fucking zoom. It stacks. Thieves can also learn a skill that highlights hidden passages for you, and it can be worth giving the area a once-over with a Thief to hoover up any extra treasure. They've also got good agility, so they tend to act early and often. The main thing about Thief, unsurprisingly, is that what a Thief can do is a Thief can steal shit. I probably don't need to tell you this if you played a lot of FF, but for anyone else in the audience, stealing is kinda handy. Thieves basically have access to a second enemy loot pool nobody else can mess with, and it's a good one in this game. As well as getting some pretty handy stuff pretty early, and getting a little sprinkling of unique loot here and there, you'd be surprised which weird little goblin guys just walk around carrying elixirs out here. Steal rates are reasonably high, but if you're not a thief class and you're just using the steal skill, they're pretty butt unless you can find yourself a pair of thief gloves. Also, the special thief weapons are like boomerangs and stuff that you can chuck from the relative safety of the back row, and they're not bad. Honestly, Thief has a rough start, but really picks up after the first couple crystals. Definitely a C tier boy right here, though you might struggle to know what to do with him at times. Alright, last two. Wizard time. Black Mage is a Black Mage. He does Black Mage things. Out of all the Final Fantasy games that feature a Black Mage, Final Fantasy V's Black Mage might be the most Black Mage out of every one of them. Black Mage's main thing is that he outputs either big elemental damage to one guy, or small elemental damage to many guys. You can split a spell's target between all enemies, but the damage is divided by the maximum number of enemies there could possibly be in any fight, so it's not normally worth doing unless they're weak to it. What you want to do with a Black Mage is give them an elemental rod, click the button for the corresponding elemental spell of your current level, click an enemy, and then giggle as you watch the biggest numbers you've ever seen be generated above the head of that enemy. This is the thing Black Mages do. This boy does numbers. As long as his MP holds up, he's probably going to be doing as much damage as the rest of your whole squad on his own. Even if his MP does run out, that doesn't stop him breaking his staff over his knee in a fit of rage and something aggroing the entire enemy team. You see, in Final Fantasy V, you can use certain weapons from your inventory to trigger an effect, and what happens when you use an elemental rod is basically the same thing that happens if you sufficiently compress nuclear material. At least for the part of the game where you can't natively cast dagger spells. In addition to just making the big numbers happen, Black Mages have access to some status spells that are a little more niche, but when they work, they heckin' work. Honestly, every squad should have a Black Mage, and you could do worse than just clicking 4 of them right now. He can dish it out, of course, but he absolutely can't take it. Only being able to wear wizard armor and having a pretty pitiful HP pool underneath it, the Black Mage is the most likely member of the team to get one-shot by a random bolt from the blue, and since he's so much of the squad's output, this does have a tendency to complicate matters. Unmistakably an A-tier class, though. Out of all the little pixel guys in the game, the Black Mage is the best at just doing raw damage to one guy. The only reason there's anyone better is because the top tier classes have transcended such basic tactics. And then there's White Mage, who's in a similar boat to Black Mage. White Mage isn't going to be dealing a whole lot of damage, at least not for a while, but the healing they can output is actually crazy. A single target heal is probably going to heal a teammate for more than their maximum health, and a spread heal only gets split over your 4 slots, rather than the enemy's, 7. Plus there's probably someone in all of those slots, so you don't quite suffer the downgrade Black Mage does. Although I'd advise always click the single target heal first if you think you might need it. Having a White Mage on your squad, it makes it 4 times tankier than it would be otherwise. Having 4 White Mages means everything is going to take fucking forever, but you basically them all. They heal, they cure status, they res, they buff. By endgame, they might even be able to sneak some small holy nukes through if they have the time, busy as they are. On top of all this, they do have access to a couple cheeky status spells, and I can think of at least one boss off the top who's definitely vulnerable to Mini, which I think is very funny. Wizards in this game are kinda just better than everyone else, and White Mage is no exception. A tier. You know what? While we're here and we're already going long, let's talk about Freelancer dead quick, in case you're playing pure chaos and rolled a job you can't use. We'll get to Fiesta stuff, honest. Freelancer is just a guy. His stats are buns, and he doesn't learn any skills at all. Once you reach endgame, Freelancer's thing is that they learn 2 moves from other classes rather than 1, and on top of that they absorb the highest stats from all the classes you've mastered. Again, if you're just here to vibe out and listen to your podcasts, and you'll get around to the fate of the world when you get to it, by the end of the game Freelancer will be the best job for everyone, hands down. Even right now though, they do have some things going for them. You see, Freelancers can equip anything. Any armor, any weapon, greatsword, battle axe, magic staff, whatever you got. Anytime I say only X class can use Y, I mean only X class and Freelancer. The most obvious utility at this point in the game is that they can smash a rod just as good as a Black Mage can. But there's a lot of items out there that have some weird effects you just might need to fit into the squad somehow, and that somehow is Freelancer. I'd say don't worry too hard about the stats if you think you've got a task for them to accomplish, because gear tends to be better than stats anyway in this one, and because creative problem solving is cool and fun, and you'll feel like a genius when it works. Freelancer's a C tier, but he's always an option to keep at the back of your mind. Freelancer's here when you need him.
I think it's time we got out of here.
A fair point. Listen, do you ever just start practicing writing a silly little script, and then before you know it, you're an hour into wittering about a video game that looks like you drew it in MS Paint, and you're only like 20 minutes into the actual game? Does that happen to everyone, or is that just me? Listen, I'm gonna go now. Bye, I guess.